on, everybody? It's your boy Chip, back at you from RVA Vapes. And today, we got the Ultex T80 from our friends at Joytech. And this thing has an awesome new coil design. Check it out. So, let's dive on in. So this guy's really interesting. You've got your device right here. And it's actually a tube mod that you can unscrew, which is kind of cool. It's got some cool styling to it, as you can see. Then you've got the tank it comes with is the Cubis Max tank right there, and you can see it's got a top airflow design. Interesting. Obviously it's a slide fill, which looks like a little red arrow, and you've got your spare glass there. Let's see what else is in the box. And they've got some cotton pre-cut sheets, charge cable, and then this is spare O-rings, blue screwdriver, and look at that guy. That is your coil or heating element. Pretty snazzy. So this guy is a single 18650 device, and you can see the tube's a little bit offset there. So positive, I'm going to drop that in. Screw the base on it. Ooh, look at that. It's got a nice little screen on it. Interesting. So 3 clicks. You've got all kinds of good stuff. A wattage mode, a bypass mode, temperature nickel, temperature titanium, temperature stainless steel, memory 1, memory 2, and memory 3. So we're going to put it in wattage mode. You can turn up and down the wattage. It goes up to 80 watts. That's very cool. So basically we've got a variable voltage tube here, micro USB. Nice little fire button and your up and down adjustments right there. But let's break this tank open. Let's see what we got going on here. That top airflow has me intrigued. So you've got your bottom cap that comes off here, and you can see it's an interesting setup. You've got this plug or case here, and then, oh, hello, your little heating element right there. And it looks like the cotton's just supposed to sit right down in this little shelf here, like so. So it's a changeable cotton, and the coil's kind of pre-installed, if you will. So that explains why it's got the top airflow. That's the juice flow. Okay, so you've got the juice flow coming in those 2 channels right there. You've got kind of a 2-piece segment here, if you will. The airflow itself comes down through this outer chamber, which goes through here, and then it goes up through the center chamber right here. So that explains why the chimney is so wide. So it's kind of a dual purpose chimney, if you will. That's interesting. I've seen that done a couple of different ways, but never quite like this, so that's cool. So there's a gap between this heating element and the larger intake tube, and you can see it just kind of comes out right here around the edges of this heating element, and then it goes right back up through the center, which is directly over the center of the coil. So that's actually a really smart design. And you can see there's these 2 little contacts right here. It's got a little notch right here, and that matches up with that guy right there. So you just line that notch up, put it on there, and then screw your base on, and you've got your tank all back together. Very cool. This looks like a 510 drip tip, ladies and germs. Yep, look at that. It's a 510 drip tip. Taking it back old school. Throw that guy on there. It's a pretty cool looking little tube, I have to say. So now I've got an up close look at it. We're going to pull back, talk about it a little bit, have a vape on it, and tell you what we think about it. So first and foremost, this thing is really cool looking. The tube itself feels really good in the hand. The Ultex T80 with the Cubis Max tank has got a nice look to it, and a nice even little screen. It's kind of a throwback for me. It reminds me a lot of my Vamos and the V5 lava tubes and all that kind of stuff that we used to use back in the day. So it's got a really cool throwback vibe to it, but it's also got the new school styling, which I'm really a fan of. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the parameters on this guy. Of course, from tip to tail, you're looking at 138 millimeters, and then it is 28 millimeters from here to here. So you can put 25 millimeter tanks on there. As you saw, it does come apart, so it's two separate pieces. Pretty cool. It's got adjustable wattage, goes from like 1 or 2, I think, all the way up to 80 watts, so that's really cool. It's got a 0.49 OLED display screen that you see right there. You've got your micro USB charging port, and of course your up and down buttons. And this guy's your fire button right here. You can see that light up. That's pretty snazzy. It's also got 18650 compatible, so you take this out, put your 18650 in there, and it does the 2 amp quick charging as well, so it can use all your smartphone chargers and all that good stuff. So this guy comes in some really cool color options as well, so I'm gonna throw those up right meow. What I really want to get to is the Cubis Max tank. So we showed you the top airflow, we showed you the top slide fill, and we showed you the coil. Now they're calling this the NC film coil. I guess NC stands for notch coil, but it's like a film because it's flat. Really cool kind of concept that they've got going on here. Now they say that it's capable of self-cleaning, okay? And it's made of Kanthal, so it reads at right around a 0.35 when I first put it on there. The more I vape on it, it's down around like a 0.3 or so. You can kind of see there. The recommended wattage for this guy is 40 watts, okay? Now, at 40 watts, it puts out a decent little vapor, right? But the flavor is kind of, I get like the very front end of it, and then it's just blah. So as we played around with it a little bit more, that, by the way, that 40 watts is at about 3.8, 3.2 volts, give or take. It's reading 3.52 now, but when I first started, it was 3.3, I believe. So we bumped it up to the magic number, which is around 4.2, and this is what we found. Really good, solid flavor at that 55 watts. So they say it's best at 40. I think it's a little bit too airy at 40. That's why you lose some of the flavor. If you knock those large airflow chamber channels down about halfway, you get a little more flavor, but it's really draggy and kind of like a milkshake through a coffee straw situation. So what we did was we ended up opening it all the way up and pushing it up to 55. That 55 is really where the flavor starts for me. I will tell you, you don't want to chain vape it at 55 though. So I think all in all, there's still a little bit of tweaking to be done. I may try a little bit less cotton in there to see if that's really the culprit, but we like the thought and the innovation behind it. Now back to the coil itself, or the NC film. They say it's self-cleaning, so you can reuse it. What they're claiming here is that the coil, the NC film, sorry guys, has a 3-month lifespan. And they tested this with 800 puffs a day at 40 watts with a 60 VG juice. That doesn't really tell us a whole hell of a lot, because we know the one versus, I don't know, Keep It 100 juice, for example, much different coil lives there, and they're both 70-30 juices, and it doesn't matter if you run it at 40 or at 80 watts. one's going to gunk up way faster than the other one. I'll let you guess which one. But the idea is, I guess, that it's a coilless tank similar to what they were doing with the Riftcore Duo, but they took it in a little bit more traditional notch coil type of direction. But the way that the coil sits on top of the cotton is very interesting. So you've basically got, when you take this off, that doesn't really do anything, but this is where the magic happens. All right, so what you can see down here is this is the cup or the plate, and the cotton sits right in that little chamber there. Now what you're seeing the cotton sitting on, that's the NC film that it's touching directly. So essentially the juice comes down, bounces off this plate, and funnels into the cotton, and then the cotton is sitting directly on top of the NC film. The suction from your draw pulls the juice into the center, which creates vapor. It's a really, really interesting concept, and they put a little notch on this guy so you can only line it up one way with the tank right there. Now that we've kind of explained all that, the tank itself does hold 5 mils of juice. The Ultex 80 chipset is very much similar to, I think it is the i-stick / Pico, because you got your 3 clicks, brings you into your menu options, and you just got wattage, temp controls, and memories, and that's it. There's no fancy wire power curves or any of that kind of stuff. It's got a 10-second cutoff, overcharge protection, short circuit protection, and reverse polarity protection. It has got the upgradable firmware on it, and as we said, you can charge it with the micro USB or take the battery out, because it does run the 18650s, but it does offer the quick charge 2 amp. Now that you know kind of all about it and what's going on with it, where does it stand? Well, if you base it off of the parameters that they give you, running it at 40 watts with 60/40 juice, it gets decent battery life. With a single 18650 at 40 watts, you're going to get close to 8 hours of usage time. However, if you run it at what we found was the best, the 55 watts, you get a little bit of dry hits if you're chain vaping, but you also get closer to like 5 hours of battery usage. Granted, it has the quick charge. I think there's still a little bit of tweaking to do on this guy. All in all, I would have to say, just from an innovation standpoint and a design standpoint, we want to give this guy 2 very enthusiastic thumbs up. With a little bit of tweaking, I think it could be the new king of the tube mods, because with your slide top fill, your top airflow, your adjustable voltage, you're not having to change a coil and getting that really nice flavor out of it. This could be a real game changer. But as it stands with the recommended parameters, there's just a little something there that I think needs to be worked out, whether it's the juice channels themselves, or using a little bit less cotton, or making this in a 21700. I'm looking at you. Put the bigger battery together with this will improve the performance and the battery life tremendously. As we said, all in all, super happy with this guy. At 55 watts, the flavor on it is tremendous. I just wish it had the 21700 so you could get less battery sag and better battery life, but hopefully they'll come out with one of those in the near future. Unfortunately, they only sent me one of these guys, and I want to play with the coil system a little bit more, so we're not going to be giving this one away. But if you stay tuned, next week or the week after, I think we got another giveaway for you, so keep it locked. Make sure you check out shop.rvavapes.com for all the latest and greatest. We've got some new seasonal flavors that I've got in this guy that are coming out very, very soon, so make sure you keep it locked for those guys. And thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to check out all our latest reviews. We got a new one every Saturday. And as always, if you want to smoke, that's your business. If you don't, you know where we're at.